educators attending. So a very good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this wonderful webinar. We hope this is going to be of immense value to all of you. And welcome on behalf of Asymmetrical Learning. As many of you already know, we are a digital platform and we work with students, parents, and schools across India with a single objective to make reading books and learning on your own very interesting and joyful for children. So that is what we do. We will be posting some links towards the end of the session. uh, First, to set the tone of why we are doing this webinar, allow me a couple of minutes for that. Uh, in one of the asymmetrical interactions, whenever we visit schools, we meet a lot of parents. After one such interaction, what happened is I was talking to a group of parents, and one parent said that it's January, February, and now exam pressures would start, and many parents chimed in because this is a common peer common issue that is shared by a lot of households in these periods. So everybody got together, and the natural progression was how sports practices would stop, how performances would stop because it's exam time, how we won't do certain trips because it's exam time. And towards the end of this conversation, a parent said something that stayed with me, which was, in exam time, my child becomes unrecognizable. My child is a little more frustrated, easily angered, usually on the edge, and I don't know how to reach out to my child. And suddenly, all the parents agreed. I'm talking about seventh, eighth grader, approximately in this. And then there were multiple issues that were discussed that I can see that my child is struggling. I can see that my child needs some help, but my child is not ready to talk to me. And it's hard to reach to them. So that is why we started thinking of this webinar, because this is a common pain point that is shared by a lot of parents. So we decided that we would want to hold this webinar. But we would, at Asymmetrical, we believe that kids are amazing and they are capable of doing some amazing things. We can't, just teach them and make them do something, but they are amazing. So we wanted someone who shares that passion for kids with us, and we fortunately found Aditya. I will also introduce him. But what this webinar is not is comment on education system or what schools should do. Uh, this is, if schools do this, if the policy is this, then the stress won't be there. We won't be commenting on any of this. But what this webinar is to understand your children a little bit better. We hope that towards the end of this webinar, all of us will leave with a feeling of understanding our children a bit better based on their developmental milestones. Usually, when they are babies, we really watch their developmental milestones like a hawk, and suddenly then it all disappears. And then we forget that based on the age group, their needs, their behavior patterns, everything will be different, and then how best we can support them. So this webinar will be concentrated on a very positive aspect of understanding your children, uh, how they are developing, your role as an educator or teacher to understand how to support and nurture them. This is what this webinar will be focused on. So with this, we went around, we spoke to many teachers, educators, and parents to get their most painful questions or something that is very easily frequented in these exam times. And we have gotten them together. I will be asking those questions to Aditya. If you feel that there is some questions that we are not answering or we haven't really taken care of, the Q&A section is open. So please put your questions over there, and towards the end of the session, we will try to take as many questions as possible. Uh, so to introduce a wonderful person on the screen, Aditya Vaishmpayan has worked 15 years exclusively with children, parents, and even schools to design certain things across India and even outside of India. So he is a Montessori-trained teacher, and what he believes in. So in my limited interactions with him, what has struck me the most is he genuinely believes that children are these amazing beings and how best to support them. So that is what we'll be focusing on. So get your cup of coffee, your notepad, pen, and an open mind to listen to this discussion and even participate in this discussion. As in Sanskrit, they say, Tejasvina Madhitamastu. Let this study be brilliant for both of us. And let's begin. Aditya, thank you so much for joining us. And we would love to start with our questions.
Thank you. I'm super happy to be here.
Awesome. So, Aditya, there is something that some parents have asked us, that all these exam stress and pressures that we speak about, developmentally, do children feel this stress or pressure, or is it borrowed from our surroundings?
All right. I'm going to answer this question, but before that, I want to talk about two things. One is, what are exams? And second, what is a developmental journey? Okay, first, let's talk about what is developmental journey. Just the way we expect a child of, let's say, around 12 months old to start walking, a little here, a little there. That predictability has been designed by nature. Children are designed by nature. And by the way, in those same terms, we are also designed by nature. And those are roughly 4 developmental stages: 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, and 18 to 24. So 24 is actually the time when a whole adult is fully independent, adult is created. That's the plan of nature. And today, whatever we will talk, it'll be, I'll be commenting on how children of different age groups respond to certain things differently. Second thing is, exams are like blood pressure tests. Okay. Uh, exams measure in written form what a particular subject's understanding is of a child on that particular morning. What if the child has had a rough morning and they go appear in that exam? The exam just measures that. They don't measure understanding, measure just what the child was able to do in written form in that time. And the second thing we do with exams is we take marks and put them in a descending order. Who's the first, and consequently who's last. And that's a little unnatural way of seeing who knows what. To add to that, if we say 95 out of 100, we as parents, we get a number. So we either feel good or don't feel good. But the 5 marks and where they exactly belong, we have to do our own investigation through the paper, but it's not readily available data, right? So exams are artificial, yet most efficient, let's say, because we have such large classrooms. That's the most efficient way, let's say, to find out where a child is. But we need to understand as parents in the right context what exams are and what children are. Your question was whether children feel the stress naturally or is it externally put, right? Children of all ages, including us as adults, we are naturally designed to do our best. All right. So no matter, we don't wake up in the morning and we say, okay, today I'm going to put only 50%. And even if we say that, that's because we have allocated our 50% to something else. That's why. All right. So we are operating at our 100% every day. So do children. So children are designed to do their best. Particularly speaking, 0 to 6-year-olds have zero care. 0 to 7-year-olds have zero care about what are marks, what are exams. They would even go to an exam playfully. They will do whatever they can playfully and come back, right? But they do care about the responses that the exam invokes in their parents. They're naturally attuned to that. So in case teachers or parents give a lot of importance to marks, they then start learning that, okay, this thing is important, even though it doesn't come naturally to me, it's important. And because it's unnatural, but I need to start paying attention to it, that is the beginning of stress. So simply speaking, 0 to 6 is definitely from the outside. 6 to 12-year-old is an extremely capable child. They are attuned to become a skillful social being in their culture, in their society. And as a society, if we give a lot of importance to marks, they start looking at it as well. However, that is just a motivation from within. Okay, marks are important, but the underlying motivation is let me do my best. It is when the descending order comes, the first, second, third, and fourth onwards get no recognition, even though my best was, let's say, fifth in the class. That's what starts the stress. But they want to do their best at all times, the 6 to 12 as well. And that's very inner, it comes from within. They don't want to do badly, they just want to do the best they can. And if you look at 13 to 18-year-olds, that's when things change a little bit. Uh, as a human being, they still want to do their best, but they may have an added motivation of the social group of friends that they belong to. They might have a motivation of, okay, I am with these, let's say, 5 people, and they can borrow the motivation to do academically well if that is what their group belongs to. If that's the kind of group they belong to, and they really want to be a part of it, that's an inner motivation for a adolescent. At the same time, if they belong to a group which is focused on something else other than academics, that can also pull them away from academics and say, I want to belong to that group as well. If you see the common denominator in all of these, and I'm stopping at 18 because exams mostly till 12th, let's say, that's the context of what we say. If you look at the common denominator, it's about them responding to their developmental journey, whatever the nature has designed them to look at. And at the same time, the common theme is I want to do my best for all these ages, no matter which age group I belong. Thus, now when we talk about doing our best, I decide what's my best. And there is a way to incrementally increase what is our best. That's what we call skill building. But when we talk about doing our best, it's not inherently stressful. The stress comes when my best is compared to the first. That's when the stress starts coming in. So to simple answer to your question is yes, the stress part of it is external. It's not that children take that stress.
That's that's very interesting to understand how these three age groups answer to stress. My daughter is 7.5, and I can see that in her. It's more that she wants to learn something. But what you said about the 12 to 18 age group, I think is really important, because most of the parents that I have spoken to in the last month for this webinar, I think they were falling into this category. And one thing, Aditya, a lot of parents said is, uh, इसको लास्ट ईयर तक तो सब ओके था, and suddenly this year everything has changed. So approximately when we are talking about 12-13 years old, where a lot of physical changes are taking place, puberty and all these changes are taking place, does that affect the stress level and how they respond to stress apart from their surrounding? I understand the company matters and everything, but intrinsically does that change?
That's a very, very important distinction, actually. A lot of parents who have a seventh grader, by the end of first term of seventh grade, they're literally saying, where is my last year's child? Because the age group of 6 to 12 is a leveled age group. There are no physical changes. There's just growth, but it's gradual, it's beautiful. And nature has actually designed that period to acquire skills and culture, to become a true part of the society. 6 to 12. As a human being, we've created societies around us, right? So the 12-year-old is completely focused on absorbing culture, all right? And they become skillful. A beautifully developed 12-year-old knows how to manage time, knows how to set goals, set deadlines, take care of other people, take responsibility, know what is the other's responsibility. They are amazing when they are given the opportunities to develop um, appropriately. Mainly because the whole focus is on intellectual independence from 6 to 12. They are learning to think for themselves. So if we allow them to do that exploration, the final product is an amazingly capable child at 12. Now, as you mentioned, at 13, what happens is the body starts changing, not just growing, it starts changing. What we call the change of puberty. In fact, educators compare the age 13 to a newborn. That's how much development is happening. Okay. And unfortunately, and this is very interesting, unfortunately, this change in the body doesn't all happen at once. It happens one change at a time. Okay. For example, the teenagers, 13 onwards, the adolescent's lower body gets longer first, and then the upper body follows. Now, just imagine the adolescent who's going through this feels that they are weird. They feel it in their body, something's wrong. I wasn't like this. And therefore, there is an inner process of feeling that they're ugly and something is wrong and they're clumsy. Because the body is developing slowly and in a disproportionate manner, we don't see it, but they feel it. They are clumsy. And you will see 13 and 14-year-olds lying down all the time because that's the most comfortable way in which their body feels at rest. The When we stand, our body's at balance. But this 13 and 14-year-olds, all of us have gone through this, by the way. They prefer lying down. The and that none of that is a problem because it's a developmental journey. But we start calling them lazy. We start saying, what are you doing? You were different last year. And that's what changes things a little. But I'll come to that. I'll give you an example of how it feels. Suppose you're walking into office one morning and suddenly you felt that, and this is a just an example. Suddenly you felt there is your shirt got torn at the back. You can't see the hole, but you're like scared. How is your body language going to be in the office? You can't change, but you're going to be all shrunk and very conscious. That's exactly how a 13 and a 14-year-old feels almost the whole time. They don't want anyone to see them, literally. And they feel that everyone's eyes are on me. Now, the point is, they are thinking about all of this. So the academics take a backseat. It's all there. The skills are there. The motivation's there. But their mind is occupied with what is happening to me. It's such a big question. What am I becoming? It's a beautiful question, actually. And if we handle the seventh, eighth graders with sensitivity and compassion, it truly helps them believe that, okay, I am worthy. I am okay. My mama and my baba see it that I am okay. So they borrow that confidence for those 2 years from us. If we don't give it, it really dips. And by the way, after this physical growth period is over, they are back with all their skills they have developed from 6 to 12. They know how to handle themselves, and suddenly you will say ninth grader seems mature, right? Seventh, eighth is tough. Ninth, second term feels mature. Simple developmental process. They've stopped being distracted by their growth. It's complete to a great extent. Now they are back to their confident selves, if they are confident at 12. A lot depends on 0 to 12 and how much skills they were able to build. But that's actually a big journey that these poor 7th, 8th graders go through. And if we hold that space, ninth and 10th, in the same sense, they are settled. So their skills come back.
Hmm.
They're not gone anywhere. Your last year's child, the sixth grader, the beautiful, confident, outward looking child, just starts looking inward for 2 years. And they're back to looking outward from ninth, 10th onwards.
That's crazy to know, because what you said about their actual physical growth and what happens, I can actually see it with kids around me. That while they are becoming taller, they're clumsy, they're a little weird, and as parents or as educators, we say, "Hey, you're becoming tall. You should be a little more confident. Don't slouch. Don't do this. Don't lie
Don't
around."
slouch.
And
Yes.
that's actually, maybe as you're saying, is a natural need to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, how we misunderstand children.
And
Oh,
I've worked with this age group for a while. It's one of my favorite groups because they are absolutely beautiful. These 13 to 14-year-olds, they're just so confused. If they find the right connection with a parent or an adult, they can really flourish. They can build and keep that confidence with a lot of um, passion. All right.
so is it
In
safe
fact,
to say, Aditya, that a lot of things make or break in this age group?
yes, but that's only because as adults, we don't know enough. It's such a natural feeling. Last year, this child was so skillful and so amazing and used to talk to everyone and go out there and do things and play. What happened? It's such a natural feeling for a parent to feel that confusion. What happened? Right?
So in that case, what are the top three things, or three, four, five things,
Yeah.
uh, for both these age groups, 6 to 12 and 12 to 18, that as a parent or as an educator, I should keep in mind?
Yeah. Um, 6 to 12. The topmost thing is to preserve the love for learning. 0 to 6-year-old is learning to just function on their own. But the 6-year-old is very independent in terms of what they need to do to live their life. They can pack their own bags and take their own showers and everything. Their whole focus is on mental structures. They want to know about the whole universe. The questions they ask, right? So the 6 to 12-year-old, the topmost thing to do is to preserve that love for learning. I'm not saying academics, I'm saying the love for learning. They want to do meaningful things. If you excite them with something, they will learn it. But if it's a clerical work, which often the homeworks that our children 6 to 12 get are very clerical, copy this from here to here, or we end up doing it for them. They don't have a natural interest in it. But my God, if you could preserve the love for learning, curiosity about life, that's the topmost thing. The second thing is, yes, marks are a reality of the majority of our education system, not only in India, in the world. So we do talk about marks to them, but we talk about them in the light of do your best. Suppose your child has been getting 50% marks in math. Let's say math is usually a point of pain for a lot of parents. I've been a math teacher for a long, long time. If it's 50% at there, you ask them, where do you want to go to? 50 in the next exam, 50 to 55, 60. So the second most important thing to do, pay attention to marks because that's reality and they need to be aware of their marks, but not in comparison to others, but only in comparison with themselves. And celebrate every little growth. 50 to 55, celebrate it. Don't stop saying, oh, 55. Okay, great. Don't stop because they're capable of way more. So, but slowly, incrementally, take one step at a time and focus only on themselves. That's the second most important thing I would say. And the, the third thing is work on them being independent at home as much as possible. They're taking care of their own work, their own toys, their own clothes, their own body. Help them at home to get more and more independent. A child of 9, 8 can wake up in the morning, say good morning to their parents, go to the bathroom, get fully ready, and come to the breakfast table. That's the capability of an 8-year-old, 9-year-old. And we need to support them slowly by teaching them skills one by one. So these are the top three for 6 to 12. And these are the skills I'm referring to. 6 to 12-year-olds need to build. It's not about math skills or science skills. They will build them. School is there for that. Don't worry. The skill they need to build is, how do I manage my time? How do I be independent at home? How do I look at myself? How do I not compare myself? That comes from us as parents.
That's interesting. So, are we talking about life skills or how they function in everyday life? And it should be their doing, something that they should do on their own.
Precisely. We are talking, when I say 6 to 12-year-old is a skillful child, that by that I mean they're more and more and more independent. See, a 13-year-old has stopped being a child. They're an adolescent, which is not a child. It's between the child and the adult. So they already want to be, when parents who are listening who have adolescent children between 13 and 18, I'm sure you've heard this. I'll fail or I'll get less marks. Now I'll see what to do. That's them taking responsibility for themselves. That's natural development. That's naturally appropriate. But a skillful 15-year-old will say the same thing, but will actually do well. Saying, I will take ownership of my marks, but they're skillful enough to actually do well. That's the important part. In 6 to 12, children need to be commanded and helped, not like commanded in a sense overpowered, but they need to be shown what are good skills. And 6 to 12 would love that. When you give them loving commands, 6 to 12-year-olds love it. 12 to 13 to 18 don't like commands. They choose the commands that they will follow. It's up to them. Yeah. So that brings me to 3 top things for 13 to 18. First, 7th and 8th graders, 13 and 14, give them love, give them compassion. You've been through it. Remember those days. It's a tough time and they are inward focused. They're conscious. They think they are not good looking. They think they're weird. And we give them positive messages during those 13, 14. Okay, very important. 14 ke baad, you will see a developed different child. And oh, by the way, when I say 13, 14, they are not precise year marks like birthday, 13th, everything will change, of course. Take it as 6 months plus or minus, but not more than that. That's the top thing. Take care of the 13, 14-year-old. All right. And second top thing you could do with 13 to 18-year-old is trust them and trust what skills they have built till 6 to 12. And till that point, know that they care, know that they're built to do their best, and support them as mentors, as guides, not as not as someone who tells them what to do, but you're a mentor or a guide because they are towards adulthood. And the third thing, which is the same as 6 to 12-year-olds, don't compare them to anyone's marks. They are not their marks. All right. I will just let that sentence sink in because that's the crux of all of it.
True.
They are not equal to their marks. They are beautiful human being, which is your son or your daughter, and they get some marks. Good, bad, doesn't matter. But they are not equal to their marks. Don't let their marks, if they are negative or if they are positive, neither, don't let them feel that marks are everything. If you've had a tough conversation in the morning about not getting enough marks, have equally fun evening, which is nothing to do with marks. But I do see it often in parents that marks in these ninth, 10th, especially, they are the atmosphere setting of the house. Competition, exams, and this is the important year. Yes, it is. And it has its own place. And this human being, your son or daughter, is also so many other things than just the marks. So that's the third most important thing. They are not their marks. Don't equate it, whether good or bad. The good marks, if we equate, oof, that is also extremely stressful for their journey ahead. So they get marks, they look at them, we set goals for being better next time, and that's about it.
That's interesting, especially for this 12 to 18-year-old group. Uh, as you said, their motivation basically comes from their peer group or what they hold close, maybe their friends, their peers. If the motivation comes from there, that's one part. Second, now they are a little clumsy in their bodies, they are a little uncomfortable in their body, they are feeling that they are not worth it, and add to that a very potent mix of exposure to social media where uh, perfect bodies are shown, perfect lives are shown, so that adds to them feeling little less about themselves on a regular basis. uh, in that 12 to 18 phase, do parents really play a big role? Because I understand 0 to 6 definitely parents have 100% role, 6 to 12 parents have a facilitator's role, then 12 to 18, do parents play a role, or is this all behavioral? Then how do we ride it out in that case?
Nah, parents are parents, definitely. And remember, we are saying a human being is developed by 24. A
Okay.
full adult is developed by 24. So 13 to 18, children, in fact, adolescents need their parents, but in a way with an awareness that this person is becoming an adult now, and I don't have control over this person. And come to think of it, the rest of the nature actually celebrates this, right? The rest of the animal kingdom celebrates in a way, saying, oh, they're old enough, they leave, right? And that's somewhere that celebration we kind of miss out on. I believe that they become independent. We are filled with worries sometimes, right? So yes, the 13 to 18-year-old's parent, the adolescent's parents, they have a very vital role to play because they are not adults yet, right? So they are the support system, a huge support system for this child of 13 to 18. They are the ones, the 13 to 18-year-old knows that they got my back. I have their support. And therefore, they can turn around and look at the world and feel confident. So a 13 to 18-year-old needs what from their parents? Unwavering support when they ask for it. That's the difference, you know. A 6 to 12-year-old, you can see struggling. Let me go in and support, right? Okay, sit, let's do math for an hour. It's easy with the 6 to 12-year-old. They just protest a little, perhaps. Not even that. They enjoy that time with parents. 13 to 18-year-old, you are there. You can't disappear saying, oh, you're becoming an adult now. No, no, no. You're there as an option for them to choose. If you see they're struggling with math, a very important role you can play is, I can see you're struggling with math. Let me know if I can help. That is like a warm blanket for the 13 to 18-year-old. Someone's there for me and I get to choose. That's the relationship of a parent with a 13 to 18-year-old. It's tricky, I understand,
It
because
is. It
our
very tricky.
society does not look at it like this.
Yeah,
And we see them as children.
we see them as children, or we see them as complete adults.
Mm.
And and there is no in between, like especially
Yeah.
with even this group which is 7 8 year old, they don't
Yes.
look like kids, they don't look like babies anymore. So we
Yes.
suddenly, go do whatever you want to do,
Yes.
and they are maybe not ready for that.
Yeah.
Similarly, at every age group, maybe we miss that. But now tell me something, that especially for these seventh and eighth graders, now that we are understanding the importance of that age group,
Hmm.
is also when a lot of competitive examination and those things start, right? Where they are preparing for their ninth and 10th and those
Right.
classes, if you go to JE, and whichever academic path that you choose, those preparations start. And a parent was telling me that, Ketki, if I don't prepare my child for that kind of stress,
Hmm.
then he would get stressed out outside. So let me start it at home and maybe get them prepared for the stress outside. Uh,
Mhm.
which I understand is a common fear amongst many parents. How do we answer to that? That because the world outside is competitive, is stressful, why shouldn't they get practiced on that?
You're right. Right. So, it's like learning how to ride a bike or drive. When we learn to drive a car, we didn't start off in traffic. We started off with a guide who also had a brake pad and a safety mechanism in a driving school. And and it was an empty road. Therefore, classes are also at 6 in the morning, driving classes. What happens is when you learn enough, then the guide takes you out saying, hey, let's try a little medium traffic road. Because here's an important thing. While we are learning something, we need to learn in a safe space to actually learn that. We learn in safety. If we feel threatened emotionally or physically, of course, physical, we all take care of. It's the emotional. If we feel at ease, if we feel safe, we learn the best. Now, I am sure there is at least one person in this, in our group who has had a bad experience while learning to drive. I know many people like this. When I give this example, someone comes and says, oh, I had an accident while learning to drive. I am still scared of driving. It happens. That's what it's called trauma. So, yes, they will be ready for the real world. They are naturally designed for it. But you don't train for the real world by throwing them in the real world. You create a safe space at home where they can learn, they can run back to you and take that support. Maria Montessori, who's a amazing educator, she has a quote. It's so beautiful. She said, "If you don't teach your child the world works with love at home, the world will teach them without love outside." And that's not a good experience. So yeah, yes, they need to be prepared for competition, but that doesn't mean throw them into the competition and let them suffer to learn. They might just learn, I am not good enough for this, right? Instead, you take it slow, you build their skills. They will be ready eventually for a competition. Can I also add
Like
something?
this. I like this traffic analogy though. Yeah. Yes, yes, please go ahead.
There is no such thing as competition. It's a myth. Suppose, Ketki, you and I are in an examination. We are giving the same exam. Is there any way I can affect your performance? You study on your own. You do what you can. If you're confident while sitting in that exam, I cannot affect your performance. You're sitting on another bench. I'm sitting on another bench. If I focus on competition, in this example, if I focus on Kitki is going to beat me, I am taking my attention away from my own work, my own study that I need to do. That's the only thing in our control. Be it exams, be it promotion at work, be it anything. If you perform your best and that best is enough, you come first or you get your promotion. But you have no affect. You don't affect the other person's performance. So competition is just the descending list at the end of the exam. But in the process of preparation, there is no competition. The best thing you can tell your child as a parent is let the first, second, third be first, second, third. You might be one of them, but you focus here. They are not in your hands. You focus here. So competition is a myth.
That's true. That reminds me of something that I had heard, that on the Olympic podium, there's one, two, three, right? And the second person, the person who comes in the second place in Olympics, is a little sadder than the third person, because third person could have lost the chance to stand on podium and has gotten it, and second person has lost the chance to be the first one. So I think that just continues. That's true. There's a fun conversation that I remember about this, that there was a group of parents, and one parent said that I told my son that let's go for a movie, let's go for an ice cream, don't worry about examinations. And this guy is not even coming out of his room. He's that stressed about examinations. So the second parent said, at least you're lucky. My son is not even coming up from his football practice and he's constantly playing because he's not even worried one bit about his examination. So I think there is spectrum of students and how they respond to this stress. One is not even getting up to have a drink of water, and one is thinking that it's all done and I'm okay. So in these two different cases, how do parents handle these situations? And sometimes I think it's also unpredictable, that a child maybe who has been a little more open is now suddenly stressed, and it has gone the other way around. So as a parent, how do we handle these situations?
So, Kiki, there are actually two things.
Mm.
One is a child who's so focused on the exam, he doesn't even want to leave the home. But it's not necessary that that child is stressed. It can be completely the child's decision, saying, this is important to me and I'm going to do everything, right? And the other thing is the child is, let's say, focused on getting somewhere, either first or nothing. That can be stressful, right? So I'll answer both. First is, I remember my CA days. I'm a chartered accountant, and I didn't leave the home during my chartered accountant final exam for 105 days. I didn't leave the home, but it was my choice, right? So that's possible. That's possible. And what you do your best as a parent. You offer them love, you offer them compassion, you offer them your honesty, saying, "Arey, how much are you studying? Take a break, come, let's just chill for some time." You do all of that, okay? And the child who's self-motivated will take these breaks at home, even if they don't leave, let's say. But they'll take these breaks. They will keep their equilibrium. Because remember, doing your best is not stressful because it's our best, right? Um, and even if they take stress, there is an acceptance of it, saying it's okay, I'll get stressed for 1 month, later I'll chill, because it's their decision. It makes the whole of a difference, right? Even remember, they are almost becoming adults. I mean, I used to be a CA. In my work, 31st March, I used to work like crazy, but knowing, okay, after 31st March, it's going to be a little chill. Where on the other hand, if some child is stressed, if they're crying, you can see they can't focus anymore because they're pushing it beyond. Then there is an external force that is carrying them forward. Some societal, familial, or expectations, basically, which are from the outside. There, the adolescent needs to be protected. There the adolescent is stressed, and we do our best as parents to give them that positive message, saying, listen, I can see you, you're crying 3 times a day. You're not able to focus, and you are more important than getting to that first rank or getting into that college. You are more important because that stress can do really bad things. And by the way, remember there is no competition. So this child gets stressed, is fixated on first rank. If they come second, they won't be able to enjoy it. So what is this all for? So essentially, when they are stressed and externally motivated, in psychological terms, their self-worth is pinned on some condition. I am worthy if I come first. So even the second will devastate them. That's something we actively protect. Like I said, our role from 13 to 18 is be their support, be their protectors. Support them, protect them from this unnatural amount of stress. The two scenarios you mentioned, one is motivation. The first one is motivation, which comes from only within. And the second is expectation from the outside. And when we see the ill effects, we step in and we say, you are more important than the exam. A parent might be thinking right now, yeah, but the exam is important. But if it, remember, the child is designed to do their best. So they will, don't worry. But if you give them this message, this beautiful, real truth that you are more important than that stupid exam. Okay, I don't want to say stupid exam, but if you are more important than that all important exam, that message they will carry for the rest of their life in all their challenges. And then they will then, therefore, take failures also in the right spirit. I'm more important. I'm just going to try again. Whereas if everything depends, you are good if you do this in an exam, then the failure hits completely differently. And that can happen also for the rest of their life. I work with executives and I work as a personal coach, and I help see people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. I have to work with them saying, you are not equal to your promotion. If you don't get it, it's okay. You're still awesome. You're still worthy of love, support, connection, everything. Because if this stressed child grows up to be in the 30s, 40s, 50s to say, if I don't get promotion, kahan dikhaun muh mera? And that's not healthy.
I think this kind of understanding or communication will also help with one common running theme that I hear from educators and parents both is there is a certain level of indifference that comes in around 8th, 9th, 10th grade. What we call in Marathi पोडगेपणा. ते नाही करत जा. I think if that communication channel is open constantly, and if they know that they are valued for who they are and not what they bring to the table constantly, maybe even that indifference can go down a little bit. Maybe it's more like a defense mechanism. ते करून तर बघू.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So Kodagepana actually is, I won't take the commands that I don't want to take, but it is coupled with lack of skills built between 0 to 12.
Lack of skills built.
Skills built between 0 to 12. If they've not built those life skills, they don't know how to do it. Add that to, I don't want to take commands. That becomes gela sodat, kiva, I don't want to do this, kodgepana. If they're skilled enough, they can say, I got this. That sounds different. It doesn't sound like kodgepana then. They're saying actually the same thing. They're saying, I got this, don't tell me what to do. But they're able to do it because they're skilled enough.
That's an important point. 0 to 12 building skills, and a lot of times with our overbearing parenting, where it's not ill intention. It's not overbearing to start with.
Of course not.
More like it starts with, I want to do this for my child. Yes. Let me facilitate because I can do this better. It starts right from baby led weaning, that, let me feed you so that you will eat well. And that goes on even till 8 9, that once I feed my child, once I show something, then only my child will eat well.
Yeah.
I think that also brings down a lot of building of skill, if as a parent, if you just don't let them be. It's an interesting outlook though. So now I think many parents and educators who are listening to us, especially parents, and I'm talking for as a one, so we might be thinking that, what if I have missed this train? Now that it's, maybe I have not communicated enough. Have I missed this train? And the exam is like right here, especially for 12 to 18 age group I'm talking about. The
Right.
exam is like 30 days away, 20 days away. It's T minus 30, it's T minus 20.
Right.
Now, how do I communicate this with my child without shouting, without saying कि इतना नहीं
Right.
तो ये नहीं चलेगा,
Right.
इतना तो पढ़ाई होना है, without doing any of this, now how do I communicate with my child?
Okay. If the exam's 1 month away
Yeah.
and your child, let's say, has not shown yet the skills that are required for them to do well on their own in their 10th or whatever important exam it is, they rely on your support, right? As of now, because they don't know on their own how to do it. We continue to be their support. We continue to give 20 days may you can't change your approach. So what you do, you keep doing what you're doing, which is overbearing, commanding them, do it, do this. You just add one important element of compassion, which is, listen, today you have to work for 10 hours. You have to study for 10 hours. Exam is 20 days away. But I know it must be so hard for you. That's all. That marham, which is true, it is hard for them. But sometimes we think if I say this, then they will say, oh, mama understands or baba understands, forget it, I'll not. It's not like that. They coexist. The firmness can coexist with the gentleness, with the connection. So I would say 20 days to go. Please keep making them study because it's too late to make big changes, build skills. For now, they will build skills by the way through their life. Don't worry about that. They'll have to just do it on their own while facing consequences. Okay, they'll do it. Don't worry about it. But last 20 days, keep doing what you're doing. Add some love, add some understanding. That'll do it for now.
That's such an important point, because a lot of times we as parents say that जास्त कौतुक नको, otherwise they'll just take us for granted. They'll take us for a ride. That if we say that, oh, it's an important exam, I understand. But as you are saying, it does coexist. There's an parents, we have last 5-10 minutes in the webinar. You can put your questions in the Q&A if you think that we have missed answering some of your queries. There is a very interesting question, Ditya. A parent has said that I relate to the description of what happened to my child the moment they turn 14. How long it will continue? When will I get my child back? Normal behavior, I mean. See, this is the reason why we wanted to have the webinar. Parents are this worried. When will I get my child back?
Okay. One important thing is it is your child, even in 13 and 14, and they are the sensitive version of that same child. So this is your child. There is no child to get back. Okay. However, the physical development and the awkwardness that they feel internally ends by end of 14th year. Okay. Now, like I've said, 6 months here or there. And nowadays, actually, because of the hormonal foods that we eat, this process has also come a little pre-teens, as we have started calling. It's not pre-teens, it's teens only. But body changes are also seen in 10, 11, 12-year-olds also. It takes about 2.5 years, after which you will see a newly developed child who will not be awkward, who will get back to the confidence and the skill level they have developed by 12. They will get back to that level. All right. So Let's say you'll have a good second ninth term. But it's all good. In fact, if you relate well to your 13, 14-year-old, you will build a bond for your life. So it's as much difficult it is, it's equally an opportunity to build that connection.
That's true. That's true. So there is another Gauri is asking 13, 14 is teenage group. How to? I think we have answered this in two, rather three different age groups and what exactly do they need. I hope Gauri that you have gotten your answer. But if there is any specific question behind it, please put it in Q&A. Yes, thank you. Can you introduce the speaker? I missed the earlier part. Okay, when you did, he's amazing and talking with a great patience. How can we reach him? Yes. So we would be happy to do that once again. So Aditya, and actually behind him, you can see Ikigai Parent is something that's written behind him. He has a beautiful channel on Instagram, the Ikigai Parent. Do subscribe because he keeps putting amazing content based on what he's talking right now, which is around age groups. Around these age groups, what do kids need? What are their developmental behaviors that are normal? How can, as a parent, you can support them? Usually, he's also busting myths around these developmental age groups that, my child doesn't like to listen to me. So, actually, that's the video that Aditya I watched for the first time, and I decided I wanted you to have this webinar with all of us. So, Aditya, has worked for the last 15 years in the field of education with parents, children, schools across India and abroad as well. He is a transactional analyst and an ICF trained coach as well. So do follow him and understand. So he works with parents from the angle of children, which is so important in this current age, day, and time. Uh, okay, so I think Aditya, we have covered the gamut of entire exam stress, role of parent and educators in this. If people want to reach out to you, they now know your handle also. So
There's
that has
in
been
my
so
yeah in my
fantastic.
name I have written the website as well. So Aditya, so it's there if you want to check that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Uh, we have another one. I love Bookturn magazine. My three daughters are equal fans. Can you introduce his monthly series on parenting and congratulations on for water issue? Oh, lovely. So, for all the listeners, as we have already introduced Asymmetrical, we have reading, writing, and learning portal. In writing section, we have Bookturn as our monthly magazine, where a lot of experts write on different issues and we keep it simple and actionable for kids. So January was our monthly issue on water literacy. So as a follow-up mail, we would also send you some of the links where we will send you book turns. You can find water journals on how to introduce kids to water literacy. So that is there. And that's an interesting suggestion, Aditya, for us that can you introduce his monthly series on parenting? Because a lot of parents read that. We would love to come back to you for that. Asymmetrical is getting used by many parents and students even in exam time, because if you are not going to go out, do a lot of other things, you need some downtime, which should be a little bit of a quality time. On our portal we host books from all over the world which are beautiful, age related, interest aligned. If you're already a parent who's reading Asymmetrical, please make use of it even during exam times. And if you're not yet Asymmetrical parent or student, I will be putting in the website link. You can go and check that out. On that note, okay.
You know what I see with Asymmetrical, the work that you do is around love for learning
Yes.
that needs to be preserved. So it
Absolutely.
builds skills along with that. So
Actually, that was the entire idea. When we started with Asymmetrical, that was the entire idea. And we are very happy that more than 1.5 lakh parents across India decided to trust us on this. And a lot of experts like you decided to join this cause. On that note, thank you. Thank you so much, Aditya, for
thank
joining
you.
us and giving this knowledge and insights from children's perspectives. I hope that all of us, when I started off, I said that we will leave with a better understanding of our children. I hope that we have something to take home with. Everyone have a very happy Sunday. Thank you so much, Aditya, and we will connect with you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, take care. Bye.